CFM Radio. Video game news.
CFM Radio. It's Wednesday once again.
Yup. Which means Clusterfucked Media is back with your weekly dose of video game music and news. I am your host, or DJ, Drix, aka Benham. And with me, as always, my good buddy Vector.
Drix, you're definitely also a host. I am also your host, Vector. I run CFM.com, clusterfuckmedia.com. I run the social, the Facebook, and I run the YouTube. It's all, but Drix, he's the man when it comes to the music. Every time
the media, the clippiness,
of the video
edits,
everything. Whenever I'm the clusterfucked, he's the media, and but I gotta tell you something, Drix. There is a good amount of gaming news. It's not a ton, but we have a dense show today. We have a lot of game reviews. We have a Unicornoverlord review. We have a Stellarblade demo impressions. And I also snuck in enough time to give you guys my thoughts on Dragonsdogma 2.
Man, Vector out here doing his due diligence.
I'm playing a lot of games, man. I wanted to give you one more review. I'm playing Balatro right now, too. I finally got a chance to get my hands on Balatro. And I got to tell you, Drix, that's another one of those games. $15 if you haven't picked it up, by the way.
Yeah, what in the indie?
Yeah, $15 if you haven't picked it up, by the way. It's another one of these games that I find myself... I start the game, I play it, I look up at the clock, and it's like 2.5, 3 hours have passed. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh my. Game. What genre is this in?
It's a roguelike card game, but it's not like a Slay the Spire kind of thing. It's all based on poker hands. And essentially each level... To beat each level, you need to, it's divided into 3 different challenges where you have to hit a certain amount of points and a certain amount of hands. Now, the face cards, like the values of the cards are applicable, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10s, faces. All of that stuff has value, as do your hands, but you also have jokers that you can buy from a shop that give you multipliers. And it's not like poker, right? I'm not like actually playing poker. I'm just utilizing the poker hands. But it's an interesting game. Very, very, very easy to lose yourself in. Very intuitive. All of the information is given to you right there, right up front. You know all the different kind of poker hands and how to achieve them. It's a very, very, very interesting system. I'm loving it a lot. And one of the main reasons why I'm bringing up Pal World on the main stream here is because I think I'm about to jump back into that either next week or at the end of this week. So jump back into the world of Pal World for myself, see what's going on. I heard they put a new raid boss in, so I'm thinking about checking that out.
Yeah, get your buddies together, crank up the gathering and experience to about 10x. That way you're not grinding forever. And then, get your buddies into that next raid, early access game, lest we not forget. So even if the user base dips down a little bit, let them finish the game first and see what happens.
I mean, honestly, they sold like a fucking billion copies in the first week, 2 weeks. It's like they made enough cash to keep the game going. Honestly, if you boot the game up today, based upon day one, or compared to day one, but way smoother experience. Things it's a little building is a little bit snappier. You have a lot less of those weird moments where like I'm gonna put this building here and then you put it down and like the game's like, yeah, you can put it down there, cool, and then instead it just like doesn't show up and then your materials just fall on the floor in front of you. You're just like, oh, I guess that wasn't real. Like, less of that happens. Yeah, there's a little bit more wonkiness in other areas, but overall the game is really coming along. coming along nicely. I really like where Pal Worlds is coming at is looking right now.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet to see some significant improvements even since the time that it's been out.
And you know what, Drix? We're just going to jump right into the show. I'll tell you what game has significantly improved my mood since it came out, which has been at the top of last month now. It's taken me a little bit to get through this, but it is Unicornoverlord. Now, you're watching it on the screen here. Unicornoverlord. I'm going to say it up front. I love this game. This is it's very cool.
Same. Still haven't even finished the demo, but I already love Unicornoverlord.
I love this game. It's definitely an early game of the year contender for me. I feel as though if like the games like this, I'll preface it like this: they're not for everybody. The game isn't very I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start off. As you can see from the B-roll that's rolling right here, beautiful visuals. The game, I'm playing it on the Switch. This is coming from my Switch console. The visuals are crazy good. I'm constantly blown away, and it's really hard for me to play this game on the go because I always want it on my TV because it looks that good.
Yeah, blow it up. I mean, there's probably a reason why there's like a PS5 version of this game as well.
Yeah.
Get all your pixels in, maximize your resolution, but for a game that you can put this many hours into, you might want to prioritize the portability of it all. Oh,
and Drix, I got so many hours of it. I'm still playing it. I'm still playing through this game. It's a fantastic game, and I'm at the home stretch. And I gotta tell you, my playtime is over 40 hours.
Wow. Yeah. A whole week pay up in that bad boy.
Yeah. I put about 40 hours into the game as of now. It's still going on. I'm in the home stretch of it. And I will say there's a lot to the game. And it's a very, very robust experience. It's mainly a strategy RPG, and when I say strategy RPG, I mean strategy RPG. This isn't like Fire Emblem, where it's like a turn-based tactical dealie, where you have a lot of control over what's going on. It's not like that at all.
Much more chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. It's one of those things where, so the chief inspiration, if anybody has any qualms with where a game like this even comes from, the chief inspiration is Ogre Battle 64 on the Nintendo 64. It's pretty much, if you're a fan of Ogre Battle 64 like I am, you pretty much see
March of the Black Queen.
Yeah, or March of the Black Queen, really. But
that's closer assumption of the battle style.
A little bit, but like it definitely has. It's a love letter to that style of Ogre Battle. The real-time strategy, like you're seeing on the B-roll, the real-time strategy, units moving across a large map independently of one another. The battles are auto battles, so you don't directly influence them yourself, but that doesn't mean you don't have a lot of control over what happens. There's a lot of ways to control how battle flows, not just with the real-time strategy controls as you're seeing on the screen right now, but there's also valor moves that every character has, and every character in the unit also gains or adds their valor move to the valor move pool of that unit. So whenever you take over a point, like liberate a town or take over an enemy point, you'll gain valor points. You defeat enemies, you gain valor points. So whenever you see it in the upper left-hand corner where it says valor on the screen, you spend those points to deploy troops from your from applicable command points. Not every command point can deploy troops, but like a town can, right? Or checkpoint can. But not there's also characters you could like heal, resurrect units,
all kinds of stuff. Indirect attacks, ranged, like magic and arrows and stuff. That comes into play pretty heavily.
Very, very heavily, especially when you hit, I would say, the mid game, when you're first faced with your choice of like what nation to go to next. That's when the game really starts coming into its own. With like, you're teased with it in the Cornea area, and you spend a lot of time in Cornea. Cornea itself is about like a 7-hour zone, 8-hour zone, and you don't even finish the whole zone. You have a Breath of the Wild, Neo Zelda, I'll call it, type of option where you could go and fight the final boss in the final area immediately if you want to. But this is a numerical stat-based game, and they're level 40. And you start at level 1. So you can try, but you probably won't succeed.
Yeah, good luck.
But they tease a lot of those mechanics in the Cornea area of the game in the beginning of the game, but it really opens up towards the middle of the game. The middle of the game gives you or introduces elements such as catapults, ballistas that units can man that are out in the field, that are devastating to pilot and devastating to go up against, can take out an entire unit in 1 or 2 shots. And that's not combat. You don't directly engage in combat when you do when you use those things. So all of those extra skills, the teleporting, the dashes, the healing, the resurrections that you can do with Valor, it really ends up, you really feel the RPG in the strategy RPG, and it feels like everybody is important, and it makes unit composition matter in more ways than one. Yeah, they're going to go in there on the battlefield and they're going to fight people pseudo rock, paper, scissors style. Like I said, it's a numerical RPG.
Man, so many more than 3 options in the rock, paper, scissors. You have like boulders, you have dynamite, you have bows and arrows. And
shotgun, pistol.
So crazy.
Yeah,
like,
no.
How many different unit variations, and then it's not just like fire, water, and grass. Like you got your psychic, you got your electric. It's nuts.
No, it's really cool because the longer the game goes on, the more I enjoy this. I'm going to preface this. This is where the game might actually lose people. The longer this game goes on, the more granular it really does get. You really, really have to end up paying attention to the armor that people are wearing, the weapons that they're using, and more so than just the unit versus the unit. Yeah, we all know that cavalry can beat infantry pretty effortlessly, and that's a very true idea in Unicornoverlord. But there's also a lot of tricky things like gear that you can equip your guys with that can let them dodge instead of block. Or you could have a character on your team that gives the whole group a buff at the beginning of the match, and that buff literally changes, like flips the whole matchup on its head. And you can test these things in the training grounds and on the forts that you find in the large open world. By the way, for a strategy game, this game does open world exploration pretty fucking good, better than any strategy game that I've ever seen.
You can just wander around and like pick up items and deliver them to settlements and stuff.
And that's another thing that I'll say. The exploration is layered into these Japanese style strategy RPGs. They really like to layer in not just combat but domestic affairs, and they layer this game very, very gracefully layers in its domestic affairs systems with its open world exploration, because it's like you said, Drix, you go around and you find these things. You find herbs, lumber, ores, fish, different kinds of crops, like all these kinds of apples, all these kinds of things. And then you, like you said, you deliver them, like you're seeing right here on the B-roll, you deliver them to these towns, and then they make the town functional again. You get things in the shop. You can station a guard there to keep it safe. Some towns even allow you to access a harbor and go on a boat to somewhere else. Sometimes you can, as you get deeper into the game, you can even sequence break if you're good enough by liberating certain docks early. So if you really play the game right and really can strategize well, you can really push the game hard, and it's a very rewarding feeling. And the unit composition, going back to that really quick, doesn't just matter as far as who works with what, who covers whose weaknesses, and what kind of unit is going to be like the rock to another unit's scissors, but it also matters on a whole other level because these characters develop relationships between one another while they fight alongside each other on the battlefield, and that can really lead to some rewarding, heartfelt moments that happen later on in the world, because out in the world you can find, like, when people build rapport with one another, out in the world, a landscape can trigger a mini cutscene, and it's kind of like an anime episode.
Yeah, just enough of that visual novel Persona 5 element. Thanks, Atlas.
Exactly, and honestly, it goes a long way to connect you with a character, and it goes even deeper as you go into the game later. And this isn't a big spoiler at this point, but a major part of the game is finding somebody to marry, because your main character, Prince Elaine, one of the main storyline points requires you to build rapport with someone high enough so that you can marry them, and king in his kingdom. Exactly, and you can so it becomes very in depth. There's a lot. That's not the only choice that you're going to be making. There's a lot of choices that you're going to make. Some of them are obvious. Some of them are like, in the very beginning of the game, you can make a decision whether to execute a thief or not that you encounter. You play this in the demo. But as you get further into the game, much like its inspiration, Ogre Battle 64, the choices that you're making don't just happen in dialogue or in cutscenes. They happen on the battlefield as well. And the sequence that you go about your campaign matters.
Ooh, decisions that matter.
And it's very cool. So that being said, the one thing that there's also, really quick, there's also an online component. It's a little gimmicky, I'm not gonna lie. It feels like a cell phone game, and that's it. It might sour some people if you think of it like that, but essentially you just set like a unit up and people can fight against it with their units online.
All right. I mean, really, who asks for an online portion to like a solo strategy game? But they're really giving you not just the meat and potatoes, but a lot of tasty sides as well. They
really do. There's a lot to Unicornoverlord, and I definitely think that while it isn't for everyone, the game definitely puts its best foot forward from the jump. It has a beautiful visual style. I'm playing it on the Switch. It looks fantastic. It's one of the best looking. I would confidently say it's right up there with Luigi's Mansion 3 as one of the best looking games on the Switch. So visually, a feast for the eyes. Gameplay wise, it's very in depth. Yes, the combat itself may just consist of auto battles, but there's enough decision making in it, and not to mention unit composition really matters. It really matters if you have a cavalryman out there and he's actually got other cavalrymen in his unit, if he does, that dude's gonna be flying across the battlefield. You know what I mean? Like, he could
leader skills.
Yeah, he
depending
could.
on who you have lead, the dudes with axes can chop down barriers and stuff. And so many like granular things to think about when building your units from the ground up.
Yeah, and I'll say it up front, you're not gonna have room for everything by the end of the game. I mean, my army got to S rank pretty fast. I was S rank by the middle of the third continent, so I was way before the end of the game. And even at max rank, with all the upgrades available to me, with all of my units having 5 people per unit, your army still is limited. So you need to make sure you're making a lot of good decisions and making sense to cover people with other people. And it's I'm playing the game on expert mode, and I can tell that the storyline character groups aren't really the groups that are supposed to be used, because I'm really trying to keep the storyline characters together to build rapport with one another, because they have great dialogue when you find it. And it's cool to get like the background on the characters and their interactions, especially when like you team up like a rival with like you might have fought this guy like 10 missions ago, and now he's on your team, and you fought him because he was terrorizing some other person, and now they're fighting side by side, and then you build rapport with those people, and then like they like hash it out, or sometimes they don't, and like it's so cool. It's so cool. There's so many cool things about this game. The strategy RPG auto battling aspect might not be for everybody, but I think there's enough gameplay in it, especially when you bring in the valor skills, dude. If you could be valor skilling people to death, like
you could make that your entire strategy.
Yeah, you could literally
could prioritize relationships and lose some combat efficiency.
Yeah, hey, you know what? It all depends on, again, numerical statistics are the name of the game. So that's you can subvert it. There are definitely ways to grind, but anyway,
setting your battle actions, in order.
Oh my God,
so that it can be more offensive or defensive, even based on a unit. That poison weapon you equip could like make or break a fight for any character.
Drix,
similar things.
Don't even get me started on the tactics system. The whole system, like, it doesn't matter that your characters, if you really think that this game plays itself, then you're really not playing it right. Because there's a whole tactics system that you can literally set your characters to do whatever you need them to do before the fight goes on, in the sequence that you want them to do it, based upon who you're fighting. Even if the game at the beginning says, yo, you're about to fucking die.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Gambits system from Final Fantasy 12.
Yes.
Where you can kind of like program algorithmically like what actions you want to take and when and in what order.
Very, very reminiscent to that. So if that's your jam, and the Valor system gives you even a little bit more control on top of the layering of unit composition, because like we were saying before, you could have your cavalrymen be running really fast. You could have flying units that just fly over everything. There's a lot of things that you can do and a lot of control that you can have. So Unicornoverlord, my final word on this game is, if you like strategy RPGs, and especially if you miss and hearken to the old days of strategy RPGs, like the 90s and the 2000s, if that's your jam, this is a must buy. You have to play this game. It's incredible. For everybody else, I highly suggest you give it a shot. If you can find this, if you don't want to pay full price for it, it's $60. If you don't want to pay full price for it, rent it off a GameFly, borrow it from a friend, do something, because
play the demo.
Yeah, play the demo. Get a taste.
Oh man, you're gonna be hooked. The first hit is free.
Yeah, it's really. It's not a game that you want to pass up, and I'm not going to say that there aren't frustrating moments. There are definitely some head smashers where I'm sitting here and I'm like, damn this fucking game. But
you may encounter some skill issues, but it's kind of part of the fun and part of what keeps me wanting to come back anyway.
It's absolutely one of the best games that I've played in recent memory, not to mention not just in this year, but within recent memory. I put this game up there with like Spider-Man 2 from last year, Baldur's Gate 3 from last year. Like this is one of those
My
games.
Armored Core 6.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I could probably play this the rest of the year and be fine.
Same. No, absolutely. Like it's one of those things. If we weren't doing this show, you know what I mean? Like
yes.
I don't know
that's
if
where those hours would go.
I don't know if we weren't doing this show, I don't know if I would even be buying other games, honestly. Like I would just be playing this game all the time. Like
but gotta get the word out from the game journos.
Absolutely. But that is Unicornoverlord. It's on PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles. I believe it's on PS4, and it's on Nintendo Switch. Not on PC, but that doesn't matter, because this game is incredible and you should definitely try. You could pick up an Xbox One for like $100. Grab it. Go grab a copy of this game. It's fantastic. Unicornoverlord. I had 2 thumbs up. I say it's incredible.
Hey, you got a score out of 5 for us for this one?
I would definitely give this a 5. It's got everything. It even has like a little online element to it. It didn't need it.
Didn't even need it.
I
did not expect one of those.
Drix,
it's still delivered.
I'm telling you, Drix, hour 10 in this game, I was already wanting to start a new playthrough because of all the decisions that I could have made.
Yeah, I've seen that in the demo as well, and geez, definitely going to add this one to my collection. It's
so beautiful, and it's a beautiful game. Unicornoverlord, 5 out of 5 on my scale. Pick it up if you haven't. It might play the demo. It might not be for you. Definitely, your mileage may vary. I am a fan of this style, so I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. But the narrative, the characters, the graphics, the gameplay that is truly unique in today's landscape. As opposed,
some of the best 2D anything you'll see.
Anything. But yeah, that's it. Play the demo if you haven't. It's on everything except for PC. Unicornoverlord. I'm all about it. But and here's a game. The next game that I'm going to talk about is a game that I wasn't all about at first. And if you heard me last week, you kind of got a taste of it. And that game is Dragon's Dogma 2.
Ooh, yeah, Wagon's Llama.
Wagon's Llama. Wagon the Llama 2. And you know what? Flipping menus too. That's really what we're doing. Like, boy oh boy.
Yeah.
You be opening the menu screen in this game.
We asked if it was anime Baldur's Gate 3, but from what I've heard, it's looking more like, Monster Hunter Dark Souls. Maybe not as accurate.
So here's the thing. Full disclosure. Dragon's Dogma 2, I definitely think that this game is going to be in the Game of the Year discussion. I definitely believe this is one of those games that if you are able to lose yourself in a world for hours, and because the world allows you to do it, not all open worlds allow you to do something like that, and some of them try and fail, but this game definitely has that quality of that like Bethesda Skyrim quality of here's a world, lose yourself.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a good handful of streamers do exactly that.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, Drix, I don't know what the fuck the story's about. And
it's that's where the Souls like comes from.
I'm not like the I hate to say it, I'm not this kind of gamer, Drix. I'm not this. I really care about the story. In like a lot of these games, I really care about the story. But it's true, I do. I feel like a narrative is a really important part of getting lost in a world. But you know, Dragon's Dogma 2, that's why I say it's got that Bethesda quality to it, bro. I didn't give a fuck what I was doing in Skyrim or Fallout 3 either. New Vegas is a different story. But those Bethesda games.
Where's Dad?
Yeah, where's Dad? Where's my son? I gotta find my son, Nemo! Right.
Yeah,
but
screaming Nemo.
Yeah, you know, but like this game has the same, I guess, element. I don't want to call it a problem because it's not really a problem because, to me at least, it's not really a problem because if the world is that good.
Yeah, it doesn't detract.
It doesn't detract. The having a negligible narrative does not detract from it, to me. And I'll be, again, straight up front, microtransactions, all that hubbub, wouldn't have even known microtransactions were in the game if I had not, if I wasn't on the internet. If I wasn't on the internet, I wouldn't have even known it was in the game. I got 1 billion fairy stones. I still have a ton of them. The game gives you a bunch. But this is kind of leading me into my point about the game that I think is misleading to a lot of people. Very, very misleading.
It got review bombed even.
And
on Steam anyway.
But further than the microtransactions, and Drix, you kind of mentioned it earlier when you gave it the comparison to Dark Souls, but Drix, I don't know if this game has a new game plus or anything like it. I'm about 45 hours deep, but this game is easy.
Oh, really?
This game is easy peasy. This game is so easy. It's so much easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought, and I'm not going to lie, getting your bearings in this game takes a while. This game does not...
Learning curve.
Unlike Unicornoverlord, this game does not put its best foot forward at all. I don't think so. I think this game's tutorial is cumbersome in a very weird way. It's not cumbersome in the Kingdom Hearts 2 way where it's like a 6-hour-long storyline tutorial. It's cumbersome in the way where it kind of just goes on and you don't really know when it ends, and you know, you just you get a back-to-back hint thing, and then like it's like, all right, here you go, and then like you get like your ass kicked for like an hour because you don't know what the controls are and you don't know how they work. There's only 2 attack buttons. Like, that's another thing. The combat system, nothing to write home about. 2 attack buttons. You got stab and slash, essentially, if you have a sword. Everything else is like, it's like a staff is like magic missile, essentially, and power up. You've got your daggers that like everything has a variation of like speed and power move, and then you have your like buttons that you can assign your moves to, like your fireball, your ice sphere, your
macros.
Yeah, you got your macros and stuff like that. But Drix, like I'm saying, this combat system is nothing to write home about. It's not very deep. And
Elden Ring sounds kind of deeper.
Elden Ring is much deeper. Elden Ring is a much deeper game. As far as I'm concerned, this game is like years behind a game like Elden Ring. But
wow.
It looks really good, and the world is designed very well because it's got a high, I like to call it a high bullshit factor. I think people would call it an emergent, a high variance for emergent gameplay or something like that. You know, give it some kind of dumb liberal arts name. But like, this game's got a lot of bullshit in it because there are so many times, and you see it. You can even see me. Your character could do bullshit. You could see me doing it on the B-roll right now. Guy gets hit by my teammate. He stumbles a minute. I'm not gonna do my move. Why would I do my move? We're on the side of a cliff. I'm gonna take a cue from Baldur's Gate 3, pick the dude up, and throw him off the cliff. Like,
oh yeah, I did see a monster try to land a drop kick across a ravine that was not very successful on somebody's stream.
Yeah, so you have these moments where like funny, dumb, random things happen, and it's easy to get lost in those moments. I got lost in those moments for like 20 plus hours, right? Like I got lost in those moments forever. And the world is really cool. There is a nice feeling to the world, like there's something to be found around every corner. You want to left no stone left unturned in the world of Dragonsdogma 2. You kind of want to go really, really hard on the exploration because you it's like that's what I'll say. Preparation is important. That's why you want to take your preparation as far as it'll go, because once you learn that the game can essentially just every class, they call them vocations. Every vocation has its own bullshit strategy. Like the warrior's bullshit strategy is shield bash. I shield bash people and it essentially launches them. And when it launches them with a shield bash, I can do either the move that stabs upward and launch them further, or I can do my jump downward stab and like literally just land on top of him and stab him to death like a UFC fighter with a fucking knife. Like,
round
like,
and pound.
Yeah. Smash and slam. Like, another part that really is disappointing to me about the combat system is the climbing, like the Monster Hunter style things, right?
Oh no, some Shadow of Colossus climbing going on.
So the game,
or Breath of the Wild climbing.
So the game makes it's kind of a bad combination of both. But like so the game makes a really good first impression with its like climb this creature to take it down mechanic, right? Like, it makes a good first impression because, like, when you first take down your first, I think it's a Cyclops, you have, like, your own team of pawns. That's your little team that you can freely swap out. They don't, only one of them, your main pawn, levels up with you. The rest of them you have to keep swapping out. And you can favorite them. They're the other players' main pawns and that are playing the game, and you can favorite them. So if you want to try to see if they've leveled up later on to your level, you could check in. But like other than that, they're called pawns. They're literally disposable. They got a lot of personality. They'll dap you up after a fight, but not much else. They're just there to fight people.
The bar there.
Yeah, we're there. We're setting the bar. If we're setting the bar at, hey, we're gonna wolves hunting packs for like the 50th time, and I'm gonna dap you up because we killed this ogre, like, but you have this mechanic where you have like weak points on enemies, and you take them down by hitting them in certain ways on the weak points. Makes a really good first impression because it's your team of pawns, which is like 4 of you guys. And then you have like another team of people escorting you. So like when you first see this mechanic in action, it looks like you have like just a bunch of dudes flying on a guy. There's like a guy on every limb.
Yeah,
and they're all
Dragon's mob.
Yeah, and they're all slashing in on him. When you're actually going out up against monsters like that in the world, not a very effective strategy. At least not in my experience.
Comes off a little clunky when you're not, in
the climbing,
the section.
Honestly, Drix, I'll say it to you like this. I ended up unless I have to climb on enemies, and there's certain enemies you do have to climb on certain enemies. Unless I have to,
a weak spot.
I just take them down. You could invest in knockdown on the knockdown stat on your character, or play the really broken class called the Trickster. That's like the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen in any kind of like game like this. But like, I'll get to it in a minute. But essentially, you can have a knockdown power that you just knock down enemies and they fall on their own accord. They literally fall over. So it works on everything from Cyclops to dragons. So it doesn't really matter what you do it up against. But this trickster thing right here, you see it predominantly a lot in the B-roll. I'm about to kill a dragon with it right now. This is the most broken thing in the game.
Trick tactic, huh?
Yeah, it's a class that doesn't do damage, but its main gimmick is that it's a tank that is a wizard, and you set down a little phantom, and the enemy attacks the phantom.
Oh, the dodge tactic.
Yes, the dodge tactic.
Having too much evasion for your own good.
Now the thing with this character is that it gives your pawns and I think other people who are fighting the same enemy, it could give them a buff that's essentially quad damage.
Huh. I'll take it.
Yeah, and I essentially walked through the entire game. To the point where this is another game where I'm on the home stretch, and Drix, this isn't one of those games where I'm like, man, I'm on the home stretch and I can't wait to beat it. Drix, I'm on the home stretch and I kind of just want to put it down.
Yeah, let's end the dogma here and now.
Yeah, so things could get out of hand. There's really broken classes. Trickster isn't even the most broken class. If you actually do what the game essentially wants you to do and get lost in its world, because I don't know, there's no characters that there's one character that's cool, Sven, the queen's son or something like that, but the queen and the queen is evil, and there's like a fake Arisen and that's like trying to impersonate you because you're an Arisen. That's like some dude who fought a dragon and lost, I guess. It
has its moments.
It has its moments, but there's nothing to really write home about in this game as far as the story goes.
Not a lot to cosplay about.
Yeah, not a lot to cosplay about. In fact, this uses the RE engine, and we all know how good that character creator is. If you played any Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, you can get clever with it.
You could get clever with it. So, Dragon's Dogma 2, I think it's a good game. I think if you like the first one, if you like Dark Arisen, if you like games like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, you like Elder Scrolls games, this is a game for you. You're going to love this game. You're going to really just get lost in the world, and it's going to be like, whoa, I love it.
Yeah, just broken and bruised enough.
Yeah, it's cool. And there is a good sense of danger. You want to prepare for every time you leave town, right? You don't want to leave town with just nothing. And you want some potions. Or I shouldn't say potions. You want some food, fruit roborants. You want those things.
Your trusty fruit leather. Never leave home without it.
Never leave home without it. But other than that, the combat gets a little samey. A couple of the vocations are cool. A couple of them are kind of broken. A couple of them, like I said, broken to the point of making the game where it's just like, damn, this is like completely trivializing combat. But if you're into that and that's your jam, you're gonna this game is a must buy. You'll play this game for like a year.
Yeah, right up your alley.
Yeah. Everybody else, if you're looking for just a little bit more than something like that, maybe wait for a sale. But this is, like I said, this is going to be one of those games. It's going to be in the Game of Year discussion just because this game has such a high bullshit factor. Drix, there are so many weird things that happen in this game. Like, enemies fall across ravines and chasms, and they, become bridges that you can cross. It's insane.
Wow. Huh. Well, sounds like a good time if you're interested.
It's absolutely a good time. If you literally just want to get lost in the sauce, this is the game for you.
Yeah, enjoy the world, but break the game at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, and you're gonna. It's not a chance if it's not a chance I can break the game. You're going to.
You'll find a way.
You'll find a way. You'll do it on accident, like I did. But Dragon's Dogma 2, I would give this one a solid 4 out of 5. Absolutely buy it when it's on sale. You see this game for like $40, pick it up. Like,
Nice.
it's definitely one of those games. Any significant sale, you're gonna be like, wow, I definitely want to pick this game up. But
Yeah. And you too can make it to the Game of the Year discussion.
Yeah,
about Dragon's
indeed.
Dogma 2.
Dragon's Dogma 2. But that was a big review bonanza. We're almost at an hour here. We're gonna get some Stellarblade impressions right after this track. But Drix, what just glitched in?
This is the arcade version of Double Dragon, a song from the Slums called Arrival of the Black Warriors.
Arrival of the Black Warriors, Double Dragon. Let's go, CFM Radio.
This track is from Vanguard Bandits on the PS1 called Believe My Heart.
CFM Radio.
Go, CFM Radio. We're back.
Yeah. What a meaty show full of new game reviews we have for you tonight. Right now we got a song from Red Dead Revolver called Il Falso Soldato.
Il Falso Soldato. I do love Red Dead Revolver. Red Dead series, great series. I wish Rockstar would bring back Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah,
But-
John Marston
Yeah.
character. Yeah, the game that started it all. I actually finished this one in a rental period.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Had a really good time doing it. Yeah, a lot of good shootouts on this
Oh
PS2
man,
classic.
there's so many cool shootouts in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't got a ton of news, but we've got one new game coming out this week. So it's not a big one. So you'll be able to chew on those new game releases like Dragonsdogma 2 and Unicornoverlord. But we've got Turbo Golf Racing.
Wow, yeah. Get ready for a sports crossover.
From the Steam page. Quote, an action-packed fusion of racing and golf. Traverse across a diverse range of courses, using your car to skillfully putt your ball in the hole. Face off against 7 opponents in race mode. Make every shot count in golf mode. Or test your skills against the clock in the time trial mode. And that game hits PC, PS5, Xbox One, and Series consoles on Thursday, April 4th. That's tomorrow. Drix, this game looks wild.
Yeah, this looks awesome. It's been so long since Rocket League has come out, and it seems like they are just taking that to the next level over there at Huge Calf Studios.
Yeah, taking the Rocket League concept to the making the next logical leap, right?
Yeah, and it looks great. I mean, there's
it
way
looks
more
cool.
going on environmentally than in Rocket League. Instead of just a stadium, like you're
it's
in
mini
the
golf.
landscape. Yeah, it's going to be wacky and fun and good times. And if you're already accustomed to the geometry of making shots in Rocket League, like this is probably for anybody who's good at that.
Oh yeah, so definitely, if you're looking for something quirky, you might want to check out some Turbo Golf Racing.
Yeah, it looks like a good time.
Looks like a pretty good time. And, we've got another new game coming up. This one's coming out. Oh, shout outs to Menderbug. Thank you, Menderbug, for tuning in. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
We appreciate you. But now we've got another game that we want to talk about. And it's coming out, but it's coming out a little bit later in the month. And that game is Stellarblade. Now,
Very nice.
we got a demo out for Stellarblade right now. Drix, from what I understand, you just got your PS5, yeah?
Yeah, despite it being in the late phases of this console generation, I just got here and I'm ready to have a good time. I got my Sandland demo that I'm going to try. I'm definitely going to check out this Stellarblade demo and see what this combat's going to feel like, and how fast these pretty ladies can dish out some death.
And you know what? It is pretty fast, Drix, but I gotta say, I finished up the Stellarblade demo myself earlier today. And so it's fresh in my mind. And I just, listen, it's cool. I really like the spectacle and I like the visuals. The visuals are awesome. And this game has a really, really, really sweet effect that you can, you'll transition from cutscene back into gameplay seamlessly. Very, very cool. And on a PS5, it looks fucking great. It looks amazing. But when it comes to the gameplay, when the rubber hits the road, I gotta tell you, and it might just be me, but it's for my money, a little wonky.
Ooh, okay.
Just a little.
A couple kinks in the road there, a little bit of bumps.
A little bit of bumps in the road, mainly in the parrying feature. Now, I it might just be me not understanding how the game is supposed to work. It might be me not implementing the parry correctly. But I have to say, when you parry an enemy move, like the perfect guard, hit them right, parry right, hit the guard right before the attack hits you, when you do
nail the
that,
timing.
when you nail that timing, it doesn't always stop them clean.
Huh.
In fact, a lot of the times it doesn't, and they'll continue on with their combo. Like, so you kind of have to be ready to parry like 2 or 3 in sequence. And make no mistake, you take a lot of damage in this game. I was dying a lot in the demo, and I had no idea. You know what I mean? Because you would like parry, and then you would go in for and the tutorial was a little misleading because the tutorial shows you that you could parry and then go in for a hit, like a quick hit, because you have a heavy, much like other character action games, Devil May Cry, all that good stuff. You got your speed hit and your power hit, of course.
Yeah.
And
but you may need to parry in quick succession and do a little, defensive combo, huh?
Because you're introduced to the parry like, oh, parry and then go in for a quick attack. And I'm like, okay. So I start doing that, and then like the enemies right after I learn the technique, I parry them and they don't stop attacking. Like I parry, the game slows down. So I know I hit the parry timing right. And then, I try to go for it. And then instead of hitting the guy, we trade. And I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? So later on I learned, you got to parry a couple of times and then they'll like yield,
You got to wear them down a bit with the parries.
Yeah, you got to wear them down a little bit. But other than that, there is cool. You can do cool little combos. I found myself figuring out cool little combos where like I jumped. I started with the jump and then like waited until like I was like positioned just above the ground, and then I started attacking, and then I would attack with my quick hits. I would fall slowly. I would get like 3-4 hits in and then land. And then just like I thought, I would go right into standing moves. So you can do cool, long, extended combos, even in the demo.
Yeah, that's something you just got to feel for yourself,
Yeah.
The Muso mode in Dynasty Warriors.
Seriously.
What's that Muso getting me with?
Seriously. But it's a very, once you come to terms with how the game wants you to go about its combat, it's a very, very fluid game, and it looks beautiful, fully voice acted. And while it's not the greatest voice acting, it's a little anime cliche. It's good. It's serviceable. I got immersed. I found myself buying it. You know what I mean?
Yes, believable. Maybe not most excellent, but I just got to hear it for myself.
Yeah, it's not the greatest, but it's pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was pretty fun. I had a good time. I had a good time. Like I died more times than I thought I would, but overall I had a great time with the Stellarblade demo. I can't wait until this comes out to play the full game, because the one thing that I will say about this demo is when you reach the end, they end it. You'll see it here. Like this is the last boss, and like I'm fighting it right now. This fight, and this is kind of what I mean. Like you'll see me end this fight, and then the ending of this fight will seamlessly transition into an ad for the full game. Here it is. If you're watching the B-roll right now, this is like the end of the fight, and then boom, Eve kills the guy. That's who you play as. You play as Eve. He kills the guy, kills the monster. Boom. Now we're in the ad. This is no longer me playing the game. This is the ad for the game. Like it was. There's a lot of moments like this too. When you're actually playing the game, like the exposition and dialogue and cutscenes happen just seamlessly. Like you'll enter a new area, and then all of a sudden the cutscene plays, and you don't even realize that you've lost control of the character.
Yeah, as the CFM Radio DJ, I do love a good seamless transition.
It's fantastic. It's buttery smooth, just like all of Drix's, But
yes, every time.
Every time. But that's Stellarblade. The demo is really cool. I feel like if anybody wants to get a feel for what I'm kind of talking about with the wonkiness. I think anybody who's played a character action game like Devil May Cry will understand where I'm coming from with it. Other than that, this is definitely another one of those games. I'll come back to it. It's another one of those games that you got to be into what it's dishing out. This is, and I'm not just talking about the sexy ladies.
Yeah, not just that.
Not just that. I'm talking about this game has a little bit of a learning curve. Like I said, it doesn't. Like I said before, it doesn't conform to the rules of other.
I like that it's stepping out of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to parry more than once before just dishing out all that damage.
Yes.
Like, ooh, something new and different. Exciting.
It is pretty exciting, and it's that learning curve definitely it frustrated me at first, but I ultimately appreciated it at the end of the day. I thought Stellarblade was really cool. I can't wait to play the full game, and that comes out on the 26th of this month, April.
Yeah, a couple weeks ahead, but play the demo now and start forming your own thoughts and decide whether you want to pick this up when it releases.
Absolutely. And yes, before I end it off here, yes, there is a quote unquote nude suit.
Oh boy.
But it's actually you unequipping your armor.
Well, that doesn't sound very combat effective.
No, and it's really not. It actually makes the game because you're actually taking off armor, like real armor. It's not like aesthetic.
Yeah, guys,
it gives you stats
for being too horny. You'll go straight to horny jail with a swift bonk.
Yeah, you lose stats, and hey, you know what? I'll say it like this: if you're down for a challenge, go for it. Like,
yeah, play the nude version of the game. Good luck to you.
But man, like that's one of the. I'll say it like this: you get like a Halo style shield. In this game, okay. You don't have it when you have the nude suit.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah,
you want that Halo shield where you're going.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want the Halo shield unless you're like super good at dodging and parrying and shit like that. Like, you know, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny that they included that as like a penalty. Like there's a high cost to choosing to play that way. It's pretty funny. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Where's she putting all her items?
Yeah,
with that nude armor, you know, where's her inventory go? I don't want to know.
It's pretty wild. But that Stellarblade looks beautiful. Amazing soundtrack. Honestly, I was kind of blown away with all the tracks that I heard in the short time that I did hear it. At each little rest stop, you get I think 3 of them in the demo. You could like there's little record players, and you could switch the tracks. It's kind of cool. It's
all right. Yeah.
Very much a vibe, as the kids say.
Yeah, you can just jam out with your record collection. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so this game has a good bit of personality. Even in spite of people what they may say, like, oh, fucking horny character action game, you know. Character's a robot. I was surprised pleasantly by how much personality is in this game. Now, it's juxtaposed with a lot of cheesiness, but
there's balance in all things.
Yeah, there's a good amount of genuine personality to get lost in Stellarblade, and it actually complements the visual style. So, if you like the way it looks and you dig the cyberpunk vibe, you'll get a lot of that cyberpunk flavor in the world as well.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome, and I can't wait to get that demo going on my new PS5.
Absolutely. And hey, you know what, guys? We wanted to get to a couple of other things. I'll get to one thing right now from IGN. They have an exclusive, breaking it out, as they say, Drix. All month. Oh, yeah? Exclusive for a new game from some industry veterans, BioWare and Ubisoft to be specific. The headline is, quote, former BioWare Ubisoft devs are making a new action adventure called Eternal Strands.
Well then, yeah, this is exciting.
We got the demo up on the B-roll right now. And from the article, quote, developer Yellow Brick Games, a new game development studio founded by AAA industry vets, including longtime creative director of BioWare's Dragon Age series, Mike Laidlaw, has announced Eternal Strands. This third-person action-adventure draws inspiration from the likes of Shadow of the Colossus and Monster Hunter, where you're doing battle with massive creatures hell-bent on destroying you, and combines that with Tears of the Kingdom-like physics manipulating powers to turn you into the ultimate sorcerer supreme badass. Now, IGN delivered the trailer, as you're seeing here, with this essentially just announcement. There's nothing, they don't go into anything else here, just the couple storyline details, like character's name, what he's doing, you know what I mean? But I gotta say, Drix, from the trailer, this game looks pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see if Mike has laid the law with Eternal Strands.
Hey, you know, I enjoyed the first Dragon Age game, and other than the cheesy naming of the Dragon Age world itself, it's which is called Thedos, which is literally just stands for the Dragon Age setting. VDAS.
Yes, CDOS. CDOS, run.
Yeah.
Run, DOS, run.
Thedos. Thedos is here. We are in Thedos, whatever. But, you know, we've got a pretty good narrative vet. That's what I'm trying to say. We got a pretty good narrative veteran here. And
and we're already getting a taste of it just from the announcement in the trailer.
Absolutely. And, you know, from the game, if this gameplay looks as like, I guess, dynamic as it seems in the trailer, you know, if we actually get to fly through the air instead of like Shadow of the Colossus climbing on things, that will be a new interesting way to think of this, because like, you know, I haven't played it yet or started it yet, but even Sonic Frontiers, you still needed to do, from everything that I saw, you still needed to essentially climb your way up there. This game looks like you might be able to eventually, not in the beginning, but eventually subvert that climbing.
Yes, and not just dig around all the fun dungeons and monsters and combat.
Exactly.
Like in Tears of the Kingdom.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But that's Eternal Strands, and that will do it for us at CFM Radio tonight. Unfortunately, not a ton of music for us tonight, Drix. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to
okay.
impede on your spinning.
Yeah. It just means more sweet vocal bangers for next week's show.
Absolutely.
You know, always crate digging in the early disc video game mines through all those cartridge game rips for fresh tunes to play on the show. But yeah, we'll get them right at you.
Oh yeah.
Next edition.
Oh yeah, definitely coming at you with the latest, not the latest video game headlines, the latest and greatest video game headlines, and the best video game tracks this side of the internet. Drix, I don't know about you, but I think it's time to go play some games. You got to break in that PS5, my guy.
Yeah. No, like the man of culture that I am, I bought a brand new PS5 and then finished Mega Man Legends on the PS1 in the last Twitch stream.
What a Chad.
Yes, absolute Chad move.
What a Chad.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Absolutely Chadifying our Twitch channel. And you know what? Speaking of that, we got so lost in the sauce. Our Twitch, our schedule is free, Drix. What are we gonna stream? I'll tell you what we're gonna stream. We're gonna stream whatever you guys listening want to hear, or whatever you want to see. Rather, I guess you hear it too. You could podcast style, but
yeah, leave a tab open while we're streaming on Twitch.
Yeah, we would appreciate it at least. But It's over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CFM on Twitch. We are gameless right now, so we want you to decide. Do you want us to play more retro games? Or should we do something more modern? Should Drix dust off that PS5 that he just bought?
Dust on it yet? Maybe some cat.
The retail dust.
Yeah. From all those overstocked Spider-Man 2.
The Spider-Man PS5s.
Oh no, we went too hard with our Disney collaboration.
Oh,
Now they're sitting on shelves.
Oh no.
I mean, I wish it came with Final Fantasy 16 or at least Helldivers. Those are my first plans as games to pick up for the new console.
You know, in a world of digital assets, you get whatever comes on that hard drive, mister.
Yeah, no, I bought a disc edition, but I got a download card for Spider-Man 2.
Oh, damn it.
I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan. I'm like, do I want to sell this? Like, no,
that's not a bad idea.
I deserve to see what the graphics capabilities of
honestly,
the PS5
bro,
are with the game it came with, and I think that game might just be pretty enough to just enjoy for the spectacle. And you know, who doesn't like some web slinging, some omnidirectional movement?
You might get lost in it. I didn't think I was going to be captured by the first Spider-Man game either, but here I am. Like,
yeah. But the one criticism of the first Spider-Man game that I'm kind of weary of going into the second one is like these Mary Jane sections. You know?
Oh, dude, there's like none of them.
Okay,
they're like all gone. Like.
All right, I saw some on the B-roll, so that was my first impression. I saw a good amount of Mary Jane in the video editing that I did.
They actually those sections are actually way more gameplay centric. You're not trying to avoid action. You're trying to like just get through shit. But either way, it sounds like that's a game that you might want to jump on downloading because, I mean, I hate to say it, you got to download it, and that's going to take some time.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 16, I'll be able to play right off the disc.
Right off the disc. Oh, hey, you know what? That was one of the points of pride, playable off the disc.
Yep. So I'm gonna go purchase that physical copy.
Hell yeah. Hey, you know what? There's a couple of places where you might be able to still grab that game for $45, especially if any of you listening, if you haven't played Final Fantasy 16, right now is the best time to grab it. DLC's coming right around the corner. $40. I know GameFly right now has a lot of new games that came out last year. They're getting rid of a lot of their copies.
Cool. That's the first place I'm gonna go look.
Yeah. If anybody wants some new games, check out GameFly. But for me, I'm gonna jump back into some Unicornoverlord.
Yes, dig in.
And from all of us to all of you, game on, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you next time on CFM Radio.
CFM Radio.
CFM Radio.